There are thousands of Roblox games out there. Some have amazing communities, some have toxic communities, and then there's Gakuran. Because if you spend any amount of time around this game, you might start wondering, how did this community get this bad? Today we're talking about why Gakuran has developed such a terrible reputation, what makes the community so controversial, and why so many people are calling this one out as one of the worst Roblox communities they ever seen. If you haven't heard of Gakuran before, it's a Roblox game that has built up a pretty dedicated player base. Like most Roblox communities, there are plenty of normal players who are just there to enjoy the game. But unfortunately, that's not necessarily what Gakuran has become known for. Instead, the community has gained attention because of the behavior of some of its players. And once you start looking into the drama surrounding the game, things get pretty crazy. The biggest problem people have with Gakuran isn't necessarily the game itself, it's the community surrounding it. There have been complaints about players being extremely toxic, constantly starting arguments and turning basically every disagreement into a massive fight. And that's something that can completely ruin a Roblox game. You could have an amazing game with great mechanics, but if every time you join the server you're immediately surrounded by people arguing, insulting each other, and trying to start drama, you're probably not going to want to stay there very long. And this is where Gakuran's reputation really comes from. The community had multiple controversies surrounding player behavior, arguments, and people taking things way too seriously. What should be normal Roblox gameplay can sometimes turn into a massive conflict. Someone gets mad at another player, someone posts about it, someone else responds, then another person gets involved, and suddenly you have an entire argument involving people who weren't even part of the original situation. It's basically the Roblox equivalent of, bro, it's not that serious, except nobody listens. There are a couple of reasons this kind of community can develop. When a game has a relatively dedicated player base, people start becoming very invested in it. You have regular players who know each other. You have groups of friends. You have rivalries. You have people who have been playing together for months or even years. And eventually the community can start feeling less like a random collection of Roblox players and more like its own little internet society. That's when drama can become incredibly easy to create. A tiny argument between two players can turn into a community-wide issue. And honestly, the worst part isn't even the fact that people argue. Even Roblox community has arguments. The problem is when the toxicity starts becoming the culture. If new players join a game and immediately see people fighting, insulting each other, or trying to expose one another, that's going to shape their impression of the entire community. And eventually people start saying, yeah, Gakuran has one of the worst communities on Roblox. Whether that's objectively true is obviously debatable, but the reputation doesn't come from nowhere. Now, here's something I want to make clear. Having a toxic community doesn't automatically mean the game itself is bad. You can enjoy Gakuran and still acknowledge that part of its community has serious problems. There are obviously players who aren't involved in any of this drama. They're just playing the game normally. There are people who shouldn't be lumped together with the worst members of the community. People saying everyone who plays Gakuran is toxic would just be as ridiculous as saying every Roblox player is toxic because one person behaved badly. Honestly, that's up to you. There are plenty of Roblox games with incredibly toxic communities, but Gakuran has definitely earned a reputation for having a community that can get away too involved in drama. And when the community becomes more famous for its arguments in the actual game, that's when you know there's a problem. Hopefully, the community can eventually move past all of this and become a much more welcoming place. Because at the end of the day, it's Roblox. You're supposed to be having fun. So that's why some people are calling Gakuran one of the worst communities out there. The game itself might be perfectly enjoyable, but the behavior of certain members of the community has given it a pretty terrible reputation. And honestly, if you play Gakuran, I'd love to hear what you think. Is the community actually as bad as people say, or is the drama being massively exaggerated? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe for more Roblox news and drama. I'll see you guys in the next one.